Paciencia. We are here at a special place today. It's called the Hideaway Poker Club in Plano, Texas.
I'm so excited.
Rosie, how did we find this place?
So one of the commenters on one of our videos said that you guys should check out this poker club in Plano so you don't have to drive all the way up to Choctaw. I feel like I'm about to go to Disneyland. That's what I just told Frankie.
We're literally about to infiltrate this whole fucking poker club.
They don't know what's about to hit them.
They don't know what's gonna hit them.
Let's go!
All right, let's fucking ride. Woo!
This first hand we're going to go over, we look down at pocket nines in the hijack. There is one limper, I raise it up to $10. The cutoff calls and the limper calls as well. So we're heading three ways to a flop. Flop comes 8, 10, 4, 2 hearts. Checks to me. I elect to c-bet this board. I choose $15 as my sizing. The cutoff calls and the limper folds. So we're now heads up to a turn, which is the jack of spades. It adds a second flush draw and gives us an open-ended straight draw. I like this card for us, and we are going to bet. I size to $35, a little more than half pot, and the cutoff calls before I can even really get the chips out, as you can see. This makes me think he's on a draw. The river is the jack of clubs. All the draws miss, but I don't think I can get much value from worse, so I check it over to him. And he does not hesitate to put out a bet of $80. A little bit more than half pot size bet here on this river. And now it's time to think. We saw him call quickly on the turn, which would make me think he was on a draw. All the draws missed on the river. The jack paired on the river, making it unlikely he has one. So I'm really only worried about a 10 here. But based on how he called the turn so quickly, I don't think that he would have a 10 in his range. I toss in the call. Good call. Music to my ears. We flip it over. We are good. He would later tell me he had ace 9 of hearts. So he had the nut flush draw and an open-ended straight draw. We were correct. He was drawing. We charged him. He bluffed when he missed, and we made a great call. On to the next one.
Alright, let me tell you about how Hideaway works. Every 9 hands, the person on the button gets to pick what the table game is. So for this game, we get picked Congress. Congress is a variation of Omaha High-Low where you get 5 cards. Now, Rosie and I have never been to a poker room before. We're strictly casino players, so we're not used to table games like this. The only reason I'm even showing you this hand is because it was the biggest pot I ended up getting in all night. In no way am I qualified to analyze, explain, or justify any of my decisions that go on throughout this hand. Alright, let's get into it. You guys will be viewing this hand from Rosie's perspective, as I have no footage of this hand, so I'm in the big blind, literally have to play this piece of garbage hand, Queen 10, 4, 9, 3. However, the flop comes pretty good for our hand, Queen 9, Jack, 2 spades, so I flop a flush draw and I flop a pair. So I feel like with 2 pair, it's definitely too strong to raise here. Okay, well actually guys, I'm not going to analyze anything here. I really don't know what I'm doing. I call with what seems like a good hand. I hit the flush here with what seems like a good card, the 2 of spades, and here I decide to check. I don't know if the Queen of spades is strong enough to bet, so we go to a river after everyone decides to check through. Very juicy river. It's the Queen of diamonds giving me the full boat with queens full of 9s, and the small blind bets $65. Here, I check my cards again, and I'm like, you know what, I should raise for value. I raised it to $200. I was later told that you should never be raising it this big because people would never fold a worse hand. I'm never getting a hand that I want to call because I raised so big. That's what the guy to my right told me apparently. So anyway, back to the hand, we see a jam from the cutoff to $350, and I just call because I only have $150 left. It seems like pot's way too big to make any fold here. And the cutoff shows us Queen Jack, so nuts over second nuts. Definitely a tricky hand and a horrible way to start the session. I just grinded up to $380 playing Hold'em, and now we are stuck $300.
Now we got to try to run it back.
In this hand, we are under the gun, and we look up at 2 black 7s. So I raised pocket 6 and aboves under the gun, so definitely in my raising range. I decided to raise it up to $9 here, and we see a call from the button. So we're going heads up to a flop, which comes 9, 5, 4, 2 spades. This is a pretty good board. I flopped second pair, but it's not a board that looks great for what should be my range raising under the gun. So when the button decides to raise here to $25, I'm actually not too surprised. He had been talking to Matthew, he knew about our vlog and how players we were, kind of that we're new to the game. So I thought that this player specifically he was more inclined to bluff us. So we go to a turn, which is the ace, which is a great card for my perceived range, as I should have a lot of the aces here raising under the gun. And I check, and expecting him to check back most of his 9s here as an overcard. It's obviously not a great card for him, but he doesn't slow down here. He decides to bet $30. So now I'm putting him more on a drawing hand or just straight bluff, as again, I feel like that he really should be checking back when he sees that ace unless he has 2 pairs set or better. And it's hard to have many 2-pair combinations, and you know, sets are just rare. So again, I check with the idea of check calling, as I'm blocking 7-8, which would be the nuts, and it looks like he decides just to give it up here. I flop over pocket 7s, and he's reluctant to muck his cards, and that means we have the winner. So pretty sizable pot here, calling with just mid-pair, taking this one down.
I was. I didn't think you had shit.
This hand, we look down at pocket aces. So beautiful. On the cutoff, we raise to $7, and the button calls. This is the same guy from the pocket 9s hand earlier. Flop comes 7, 9, 9, rainbow, very dry board. I elect to check here, and he fires for $12. Nothing for us to do but make the call, and that's what I do. The turn is a rainbow offsuit deuce. I check it over to him again, hoping he will keep firing, and he does, to the tune of $20. Pretty standard call here, I think. He could have a 9, but he has a lot that we beat as well. The river's a queen. Don't think I can get value for much worse that isn't a queen. So I check it over, and hopefully he will bet if he has a misdraw, something marginal. He decides to just check it back, however, and we are good. He would tell me he had a big 7, but you can see that bottom of his card there at the end, and it was a 3. So I think he was maybe trying to bluff us again. So happy I took the passive route and checked, and I think we got max value.
He's not checking if he got you. Get us in a picture. And then get the pot. Hold on.
Spread it out for him so it looks like more.
This hand we pick up ace queen of spades in the small blind, and we're looking at us from Rosie's footage across from me. So this hand is a weird one. We see a limp from the cutoff and the button, and obviously a hand I would normally raise, but the big blind actually raises out of turn to $17. So instead of raising, I just limp, let him raise, and I call after everyone else folds. I think I should be 3-betting here, so the first mistake of this hand was not 3-betting. However, we go to a flop out of position to ace queen 4 with the backdoor flush draw. Obviously a great flop for us, and we see the big blind bet $30. I'm pretty expected c-bet here, and I feel like I don't need to raise as top 2. I don't want to raise out any bluffs, or I feel like I can get value from ace king, 3 streets of value from ace king. So after checking and calling flop, we get to a turn where the big blind bets $50. Here, I'm putting him on either a high ace, ace king, or a flush draw. A good jack 10 diamonds obviously would be betting 2 streets here. So I want to just get the money in right now, as I feel like I'm the best hand, and there's a lot of drawing hands he could have, and a lot of hands for value, a lot of hands that we'd call, which would be good for us, and I'd be beating. So here, I decided to jam for $175 left in the stack, and we see a snap call from the player in the big blind, so obviously not good. I come up to pick up my phone, and we go to river 5. I avoid the diamond, so I'm feeling pretty good about it. I table my hand, and the opponent has pocket 4s. So that's definitely a rough way to end our first session at the Hideaway, as this was one of the last hands of the night. However, it's a pretty typical cooler top 2 versus bottom set.
All right, we just wrapped up our first session, not our last, at the Hideaway.
We had a rough session. I played great Texas Hold'em. I got fucked in Congress. Honestly, like, I'm not even that mad because this place is so sick. Like, we have like jackpot, we found a treasure.
Also, we have to give a shout out to Jordan, who commented and let us know about this place on a previous video. He was here tonight.
And then we catch him first night. That's awesome.
So awesome.
Tough.
After tips and the hourly rate and all that, I made $101 in profit.
I was in for 600 and I cashed for 212. So do the math.